Hello and welcome to The Project. Tonight, closing arguments in the mushroom murder trial. So, what is the prosecution's case?
Israel and Iran continue to exchange strikes as casualties on both sides surge. We cross to Tel Aviv.
Jungle Queen Julia Morris and MasterChef royalty Poe drop by the desk with their golden news.
And I bring you the Taunties Awards, the sporting highs and lows, as I tee off for the last time ever. And I say final, yes, it's the last one because our remaining time with you is very short, much like prize. It's my last. Come on, I've got very few chances to do it.
Why are you dressed like a funeral director?
I was going for a sexy professor.
Well, you failed. You look like a funeral director.
Well, a sexy funeral director.
What is going on?
Well, so I wear glasses day to day, but I always wear contacts.
I've never seen you
shows.
in glasses.
You've never seen me in glasses? Yeah, surely I wear them all the
No,
time.
I've not seen you in glasses.
I wear them. Well, okay, I can't read the auto cue. Hey, it says, my name's Sam and I'm the new host. See, I can't read it properly.
Okay, fine. If you're going to do this, fine.
Yeah.
But I reckon we throw it open to the viewers.
Yep.
They can tell us what job you look like you're going for.
Oh, yeah.
How about
sexy professor.
No, I don't think
you're not the
that's one
only
of the
doctor
options.
on the panel tonight,
So
mate.
I reckon we've got, what, Instagram, X, Facebook, anyway, just get in touch with us and just tell us what the hell this is.
And sexy professor.
Live from the lands of the Kulin Nation, let's check tonight's top stories now. And closing arguments have begun in the trial of accused triple murderer Erin Patterson after a 3-day break. The prosecution has told the jury there are 4 calculated deceptions at the heart of the case. It alleged Ms Patterson deliberately served poisoned meals to her guests and later embarked on a sustained cover-up. The 50-year-old finished giving evidence last week. She's denied deliberately poisoning anyone and has pleaded not guilty to all charges. The Age's crime and justice reporter, Erin Pearson, was in court today. Erin, what does the prosecution say are the 4 calculated deceptions?
Yeah, this was said at the very beginning of the day, and it really set it up for the jury as to how the prosecution was going to close their case. And they said the first of those 4 alleged deceptions were Erin Patterson's fabricated cancer claim. The second, they said, was the fact that Erin Patterson served her lunch guests a lethal dose of mushroom poisoning. The fourth was that there was attempts made by Erin Patterson to allegedly fake her illness and make herself look sick. And also the fact that she allegedly partook in a really sort of sustained pattern of behaviour after the lunch to conceal her crimes and cover up the real truth. And as part of that, Nanette Rogers explained to the jury that this was actions including dumping the dehydrator at the tip soon after she was released from hospital.
Erin, a lot of focus in court today on the hospital and how sick Erin Patterson actually was. What was the prosecution's argument there?
Yeah, the prosecution's argument was, would a person essentially go to hospital, be there for 5 minutes and leave and say that they would return later and return 2 hours later after being told that they may have been exposed to a fatal dose of mushroom toxin? They say at this time, Erin Patterson knew that her in-laws were unwell, that all 4 of them were in hospital. And as their conditions seriously deteriorated and they ended up in organ failure and alike, Erin Patterson was sitting in the back of an ambulance, appearing quite calm and chatting with paramedics on her way to her second hospital. She was then released soon after with a clean bill of health, and at this time all 4 of her lunch guests were in comas. They were intubated and unable to breathe on their own. So it was the parallels of their conditions that the prosecution really took the jury through today to help them determine whether or not they will find that she was sick or feigning her illness.
So we've seen Erin Patterson on the stand for the last week and a half. The prosecution is, it seems, drawing attention to the idea that her evidence isn't consistent with the evidence that other witnesses gave. What are they saying about that?
Yeah, there was a lot of this today about who said what and at what point, and did this change throughout anybody's evidence. And some of those included at what time and date did Erin Patterson begin to feel sick. Now, she told the jury heard some witnesses that she was feeling unwell within a couple of hours of the lunch, but told another witness that she became sick at about midnight after that 1 o'clock lunch. There was other evidence where one other witness said that the following day, the day when Erin Patterson drove to Tyab, about a 2 and a bit hour round trip. She was telling another witness that she had explosive diarrhoea during that time. And so the suggestion was, is that possible? Could you have done that if you were in that sort of condition? So those were the sorts of claims that were tested today, and the jury were challenged to think about and weigh up whether or not that could help them or not help them come to a verdict.
Erin, it feels like a lifetime you've been down there in Morwell. So tell us what's coming up next in the trial.
Yeah, we're at day 32 today, the start of week 8. Now, this is a trial that was estimated to run for about 6 weeks, and we know that time frame is now blown out. Today, we started with the prosecution's closing addresses. That's estimated to go for between a day or two. After they finish that, the defence then have their chance to get up and tell the jury why they should or shouldn't believe anything that they've been told during the last few weeks. And once that's concluded, we know that the judge turns his mind to addressing the jury, giving them instructions on what they should or shouldn't consider and what all these legal words really mean to help them when they are sent away for their deliberations. So still a few days to go.
Erin Pearson, we appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Lando Norris has apologised over what he's called a silly mistake at the Canadian Grand Prix in Montreal. For the first time this year, he and his McLaren teammate Oscar Piastri went head-to-head with just 4 laps to go. And Norris badly misjudged this move here. He hit the Aussie superstar's rear wheel and smashed into the wall. Despite some damage, Piastri was able to finish 4th.
Yeah, no one to blame but myself, so I apologise to the whole team and to Oscar as well for attempting something probably a bit too silly. So glad I didn't ruin his race. And again, apologies to the team.
What a tool Lando is. I mean, dumb name.
I'm with you, Pricey.
A dumb name and a dumb driver. He tried to put his car through a gap that was half as wide as his car.
Yep, it's like Georgie Tunney in the Channel 10 parking lot. It's crazy.
But it did ruin the race for him, though, didn't it?
Yes, it did. Well, he was 4th. He was never going to get in on the podium, I don't think.
Okay.
But if they're going to keep going like this is going to be very bad.
Yeah. Did he leave a note? Do we know?
Oh, no update on that.
No update.
But I will say this, I am shocked that Pricey hasn't found a way to blame a cyclist for that somehow.
There's still time. There's still time. Guys, staying in the world of sport, the state of origin, it's headed to Perth for the first time in years. Now, I'm shocked it hasn't happened sooner because let me tell you, out west, they bloody love rugby league.
How are you? What channel are you guys?
Channel 10?
News. Are you talking about like United States stuff or what?
Have you heard of state of origin?
State of origin? Like Oregon, you mean?
I mean, it's a common method. The amount of times I've had tickets to State of Origin and ended up in Oregon, it happens. So just when you thought the buzz out there, it couldn't get any crazier. These guys, they love it. They've spent every minute of today getting pumped for the game.
It's a rugby league. Have you heard of rugby league?
Oh, I don't do sports.
Don't do sports?
No. We are actually getting a lot of things done today. So we're getting a TV and then appointments
lunch,
fixed.
KFC.
And then we're getting KFC. Chicken tenders, yeah. Great meeting you. Bye.
Look, I've never played professional rugby league, but something tells me eating a whole bucket of chicken at KFC would make you feel the exact same way as you would after you play a full game of rugby league.
No. You want to have a crack?
Of playing rugby league or eating KFC?
Either.
I'll take KFC.
There we go.
No.
All right, it's time for a break. We'll see you very soon. This is the project.
An Aussie writer has been deported from the United States after border agents grilled him over his views on the Gaza conflict and articles he wrote about university protests. Alistair Kitchen, a former student at New York's Columbia University, was refused entry and then detained for 12 hours at Los Angeles airport before being put on a flight back to Australia. And Alistair joins us now. Alistair, take us through what happened when when the border agents stopped you.
Well, the first thing that happened was that I went to get in that long line at LAX, which I think many of us know. Loudspeaker came on, called me over. I was pulled into the back room. And the first thing that happened is that my phone was demanded and the passcode for the phone was demanded of me. And then he sat me down and he said to me, "Look, we both know why you're here." And I said, "I didn't know why we were here." And he said, "It's because of the posts you wrote about the student protests at Columbia University."
What exactly did you write? I mean, did you write anything that might have upset them?
Well, I think that what I wrote was extremely moderate. undoubtedly sympathetic to the students and to their demands, but I did something which I think actually angered these people and the Trump administration, which is I wrote honestly about what I saw. And what I saw was no instances of anti-Semitism, which the Trump administration was very keen to claim was rife.
Right, so you write these blog entries, they don't like them. Is that ultimately, is it as simple as that? They identify this and then they send you packing?
It's not as simple as that. I was there for 12 hours. The first 30 minutes, the first 45 minutes was spent grilling me about my views on Israel, on Gaza. I spent a lot of time trying to inform them about how I felt about a 1 versus 2 state solution. Not the type of questions that you're used to a border agent asking you. After that round of questionnaire, I then got put through the rigmarole of having my phone downloaded and searched, which I can tell you was a painful experience.
Painful in what way?
I don't know what you've got on your phone, but plenty of stuff on my phone is private. And I was sitting there in front of this border agent in a windowless room, not knowing if or when I would ever be released, looking at him, looking at some of the most vulnerable things I have. And for the second reason, because after a while he disappeared into the back office, running the software through my phone, searching it forensically. I didn't know what was going on, but he came out triumphantly. And of course, what he said to me was, "Mr. Kitchen, we've found evidence on your phone of drug use. And in your ESTA, you represented that you had not taken illegal drugs before, and sounds like you've been lying to us. I can tell you now that there's no evidence on there of drug use, but I've taken drugs before." So I didn't want to get caught out lying to him again. I told him that, yes, I'd taken drugs before. And that, of course, on top of the full discretion that he already has politically, he was able to use as justification for deportation.
Okay, so you're on a plane coming in from LA with hundreds, I mean, these are big planes, right? Hundreds of people are getting off them. Why do they look down a list and go, "Oh, Alistair Kitchen's coming, we're ready"?
Yeah, I think it is because I was on the ground at the protests. And the protests are a hot button issue in the US and for the Trump administration even today. A former student, Mahmoud Khalil, still being detained by that administration. I think it was because I was a witness to it and because I was able to testify with my own eyes to what I'd seen.
Oh, so it's quite a story. You're not the only one to have had, I mean, yours has particular things, but there are a few more of these are starting to emerge. So we'll certainly keep an eye on it. Thank you very much for your time.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
You are watching the project. Back after this. The nominees for the 65th TV week Logies have been revealed, with Network 10 juggernauts, MasterChef, Have You Been Paying Attention and Survivor all in the mix. The fierce female-dominated pool of gold Logie finalists also boasts 2 of our own, Julia Morris and Po Ling Yao. And they're here now. Welcome. What a combo! Too, but this is an act, isn't it?
Oh, the whole
you're not friends, you're foes now, sworn enemies.
Oh, God, yes, because we care like you cannot believe. No, we have had the best day today, the revelation of so many incredible women from so many corners of our industry. It was exciting, wasn't it?
It really was, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Poor little Hamish.
I think Hamish Blake will be okay.
I think he's going to be all right.
The richest man in the country. Now...
you watch him take it. He's like that, don't vote for me. I'm like, nah, stand up, we're ready, we'll take it.
Yeah, he's campaigning an anti-campaign.
Yeah, maybe that's his actual strategy. We don't know. Maybe we take him down. Hey, I wanted to talk to you about the announcement this morning because there was a slightly awkward moment. I think we've got footage of it right here.
Put your hands together for all the nominees. Oh, hang on, I've wrapped it. Sonia Kruger. I am never going to live this down.
Sweet Tara, how awkward was that?
Well, how can I speak for getting to read out the nominees at the Logies a few years ago? She spoke so beautifully. And also, as one of her mates, you can imagine, I mean, she was, mortified.
Well, you're disappointed that they caught the error because you would have had one less person in the pool.
Yeah. Also, La Krugs, do you know what I mean? That's a big person taken out of the field.
Yeah. Really?
Oh, yeah. I think everyone was very sweet today, so it didn't feel certainly like any election any time that we've known recently.
Yeah, right. Point taken.
Yeah, we know. We loved it. We had a good time.
Pro, this is your first big gold Logie nomination. How did you find out? When did you get the call? How does this work?
Well, I found out actually about 3 weeks ago. So I had to, mum's the word. And it was quite hard to keep away from, close friends and family. But I was really shocked. I'd actually just done Have You Been Paying Attention? And a Channel 10 publicist pulled me aside and said, I've just got a little bit of housekeeping to do. And I was kind of milling around with the comedians because I'm a bit of a, like hanging out with comedians. Yeah. And she's like, just hang out in the corridor for you. And then she sat me down in the boardroom and said, so, and I thought she was like going to leave us. I thought it was about her because I love her. Yes. And she goes, so yeah, you've been on, and I was just so bamboozled. I couldn't believe it. Yeah, I was speechless. I'm still feeling a little bit odd about it.
Oh, you totally deserve it.
I can't. It's hard to process.
Do you know Channel 10 publicists have been pulling us in for meetings, but for very different reasons.
Experiences the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, so there's going to be a big night and everyone's going to get an envelope and, we're devastated in our house anyway. We will miss you greatly. And we were talking about it. They were asking us questions as, gold nominees and representatives, I guess, of the industry over the last 12 months. And they were saying, what's been your favourite television show over that time? And I'm like, I'm a single mum. As if I've got time for television. Wrong answer when you work in television. But I said, I can tell you, when anything happens that I do need to know about, I go directly to the project because I know... I know...
This is your moment, though. This is your moment. Let's focus on you.
It gives me has given me information that I wanted to hear on the day clearly and with lots of different thoughts
Especially
on it.
from me.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But always dreamy. We've never had a jungle contestant like you.
I know.
It's an excellent point you make. Very well made. Now, in your case, fourth time.
I mean, 75 years in the business.
Is Robert Irwin going to be handing out leaflets for you? What's the campaign strategy this time?
Robert Irwin is so global. He's already been on the phone. I'm like, how have you got time? I don't understand how he's got time to do that. I do not understand how he has time for the jungle even. Like, that is the busiest man in conservation. And he is an extraordinary human. So he and the gang, they're absolutely thrilled. So, and also, last chance dance, who knows?
Yeah.
You just, who knows if you ever voted for anything again, so you're always just like, I'm just happy someone still wants to take my photo.
Well, listen, voting for the Logie Awards is open right now. Get in early vote often. You can find the link over on our website.
Yeah.
Julia, you might see us in the jungle in the meantime. Thank you so much, Julia. This is The Project. Welcome back.
Tonight, mass casualties across two countries as Israel and Iran ramp up their respective attacks, both parties refusing to back down. Overnight, a fresh wave of missile strikes. Air raid sirens tolling across Tel Aviv and Jerusalem. Iran claiming its assault not only breached Israel's sophisticated defence system, but managed to turn it upon itself, killing at least 8 and wounding dozens. In the coastal city of Haifa, chaos on the streets. The city's port under siege from an Iranian ballistic missile attack. In Iran, Israeli strikes have killed at least 224, including women and children, and 3 more top military commanders, injuring more than 1,000 as Israel relentlessly targets the country's military operations. Roads out of Tehran clogged, the strikes triggering a mass exodus. Both sides are refusing to back down, Israel maintaining its main goal remains the destruction of Iran's nuclear capabilities.
We will not have a second Holocaust, a nuclear Holocaust. It's not going to happen. Never again is now, and we have to act now.
Iran claiming it'll defend itself to the bitter end.
We currently possess a complete database of all your sensitive and critical locations and vital points. Therefore, we emphasise, do not allow the criminal regime to use you as human shields.
In both countries, civilians are suffering the worst.
Next to my mother's house was bombed, and my whole family is quite anxious.
And it's kind of scary going out at night.
As most world leaders call for calm.
We, along with other like-minded countries, do want to see that priority on dialogue and diplomacy.
There must be de-escalation of this conflict.
I think it's time for a deal, and we'll see what happens, but sometimes they have to fight it out.
The fear that the latest escalation could completely destabilise the entire region. Journalist Amy Gutman is in Tel Aviv and is here to tell us more about what's going on there. Amy, last night sounds like it was an intensive night of strikes. What was it like?
I have to say it was probably the worst night. Actually, in fact, it was the worst night so far for those of us staying and living here in Tel Aviv. The booms were louder than ever, felt nearer than ever. Thankfully, where I was staying, all I could see was light through my shelter, through a small crack in the window of the shelter. But I have friends who were texting me in real time saying that their buildings were shaking. And I'm now standing here in the center of Tel Aviv, and it's just a tangle of metal all around me. I wish I could show you everything around me. What you might see in the background is just a fraction of what I'm seeing.
You say you were in a shelter and you could see a crack of light. Do you feel safe in that shelter, and do you feel safe staying in Tel Aviv?
I feel safe staying in Tel Aviv because I know that it's a very small percentage that are getting through. On the other hand, everyone is having conversations all day, every day about even people who have been through all of the wars, people who have been on the front lines. Everyone is debating, should we stay in the mamad, which is the shelter that some people are lucky enough to have within their homes, which is essentially a safe room. That's where I've been staying at a friend's place. Or do we go down to the lower ground shelters, which are communal spaces on the ground and lower ground floors? Everyone is debating, if the building is hit, what's the worst position? As far as I can tell, there's no clear answer yet. The best place is the nearest place.
Amy, what do Israelis make of this growing escalation in the conflict between Israel and Iran?
Israelis who are even the most hardened have said that this feels unprecedented. This level of attack and this level of threat and this constancy, this constant threat is simply unprecedented. The fact that the airport will be shut for 2 weeks, Israelis have really never experienced anything like it, and there is real fear. On the other hand, people feel very strongly that the job must be finished once and for all, because of course, all of the terror attacks, most of the terror attacks in this country, no matter how they come to us, rockets, missiles, car bombings, bus bombings, these are all proxies from Iran. So there is a sense that unless this problem is solved for good, we cannot have peace in this region and this country.
I suppose the question then is what does it mean to solve it for good? We read this morning, our time, that Donald Trump vetoed an Israeli plan to kill the Iranian supreme leader. What do you think? What do people in Israel think about this? Is this really about nuclear capabilities of Iran? Or is the end game really here regime change?
I think the answer is both, but I think the reality is, and I think it's fairly irrefutable, that the only way to properly de-weaponize, denuclearize, and to eliminate this constant threat of terrorism, either through nuclear capabilities and or through these proxies who've been waging war on Israel, is through proper regime change. And I think that's why we've been seeing not just military action, but also these assassinations of high-ranking leadership of the IRGC. We wouldn't have seen that if this wasn't about regime change as well. I think they both go hand in hand.
All right, Amy, we're going to have to leave it there, but thank you very much for speaking to us. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
OK, let's get some more news now. And tonight, police are hunting for the 2 gunmen behind a brazen shooting outside a Sydney restaurant, which has left 3 people seriously injured. One of the victims is understood to be Samajan Azari, a senior member of the Alameddine crime network, who's previously survived 2 attempts on his life. Also caught up in the carnage, a 50-year-old woman who worked at the restaurant.
It's one thing for criminals to be shooting each other, but when innocent people get caught up in this, it is absolutely abhorrent and we will not tolerate it.
Wonderful news today from Aussie tennis legend Ash Barty. She and her husband Gary Kissick have announced the birth of their 2nd child, a girl they've named Jordan. Posting a sweet photo on Instagram, Barty wrote, "Welcome to the world, Jordan. You are loved unconditionally," she wrote, "and we are so grateful to have you in our arms, gorgeous girl." Barty's first child, Hayden, was born in 2023, and how much does he look like her?
Oh, it's so good. Look at those cheeks. And Liam Gallagher has lashed out at Edinburgh Council after its safety briefing documents were leaked ahead of the city's Oasis gigs. Fans of the band were described as rowdy, middle-aged men who drink to, quote, medium to high intoxication. On socials, Liam called out council bosses' bad attitude and advised them to leave town during the concerts.
I reckon the council's picked the Oasis fans in one. They're a bunch
I'm an Oasis fan.
drunken tools.
Wait, we're going to the Oasis. What are you talking about? We're not drunken tools.
Not right now, we're not.
After next Friday, probably. No, that's not
on
true.
that subject, do you want to know, people have been nominating some of the jobs that you're okay.
Yes,
So
terrific. Hit me with
Eleanor wrote in and said accountant. I think that's fair.
Yeah.
My God. I've been hiding from my account.
Blossom was good. Judge Judy, she went for it.
I love
But
Judge
I think
Judy.
so far the winner, and you feel free to beat this,
Yeah.
Tanya sent us a message and said pimp.
It's a bit rough. Joke's on you. That's my side hustle already.
Anyway.
Not bad. That's
where it
exciting. Now,
sits.
let's go up to New South Wales this morning. Premier Chris Minns, he was being shown some new fire trucks. Look at it there. He's thinking, get me in that goddamn fire truck is what he's thinking. Fireman Sam, that's an option as well, if anyone's kidding. Now, it's true what they say, guys. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take, and my man Chris was not going to miss his chance to get in that goddamn truck.
Great. Thanks, everybody. You know what? With the cameras, why don't we check out the truck again?
Yeah.
Did you want
Have
to?
a look. Do it,
Jeremy,
Daddy.
can we flick the lights and sirens on?
Look at it. Hey! Having the time of their lives. Unfortunately, 3 houses did burn down when they were but, hey, glad they had fun.
All right. Well, tonight we meet a family in an impossible situation. Their adult son has special needs and a mother with terminal cancer. With their NDIS funding running out, the carers have stepped up.
My brother has epilepsy, developmental delays, scoliosis in his back. He's undiagnosed autistic. He's non-verbal, sensitive to light, sensitive to sounds.
37-year-old Stephen has been reliant on carers his entire life.
He is wheelchair-bound, bedridden. He has to be hoisted from a hoist overhead from his bed to his wheelchair. He's showered by the carers. He's fed by the carers. He's nil by mouth, so he doesn't have food or any medication by his mouth. It's all done by a peg and a catheter he uses.
Until recently, his mum, Kathy, had been his primary carer.
A couple of years ago, my mum was diagnosed with breast cancer. We found out about 6 months ago that it has now moved to the brain.
The family receives an annual plan from the NDIS, which allows for 10 hours of care per day for Stephen. But because of Kathy's declining health, the family had been using carers for 15 hours a day. Because of this, the funds ran out 3 months before it was due to be renewed, but the carers chose to continue helping.
I've been working with Stephen for 10 years. Kath said that the money was running low. We kind of knew because we always keep an eye on it. And I just kind of said to Kath, you know, if I don't work, I don't get paid. If I work, I don't get paid. I may as well be here and, you know, helping you out. I went 4 weeks with no income coming in at all.
The family told their local MP, Julian Hill, about their situation and got their plan topped up. But it's still not enough.
So we're working 2.5, 3 hours a day for free still. You work with families, you work with clients, you care about them. You can't just do it for the money and do it well. So they need us. We're there for them.
To pay back the carers for their lost wages, Kylie has started a GoFundMe. So far, it has raised $12,000, but is still $18,000 short of its target.
If it wasn't for the girls being part of our family, he wouldn't have had any carers, and Mum, being in the condition she's in, would have had to care for him every day with no one else to help her.
Kylie's dad, Robert, also has his own health issues.
My dad has had a couple of strokes. A few of them ended up with him in hospital. It limits him on being able to lift Stephen, so we use the overhead hoist.
Kathy's health has taken a turn for the worse. She's been admitted to hospital after having seizures.
Her oncologist told her she had between 6 to 12 months left, and that's only if the treatment works. She's been trying her hardest to do everything still. She still makes sure Stephen's the number one priority. Without Mum here, I'm struggling. I don't know what to do.
We hear from our members and advocacy clients a lot of people who are not given enough funding in their plans to begin with, where they're relying on the goodwill of others in the community to do free labour, or of often women in homes.
Disability advocate Trinity Ford says a lack of funding has a huge human cost.
The NDIS was designed to increase choice and control for people with disability and make sure that we can live lives with dignity. So when the scheme isn't meeting its purpose, then it means that we live undignified lives.
A spokesperson from the NDIS told us their priority is ensuring, quote, every participant like Stephen has access to the supports they need. Stephen has significant NDIS funding, and the agency continues to work with Stephen and his parents regarding his ongoing support needs. Last Friday, another blow for the family. Kathy's treatment isn't working. The only option now, palliative care.
I would say that the stress from Stephen and his NDIS plan running out, and her trying to do everything she can to make sure Stephen has the care he needs, I believe is one of the things that is deteriorating her health more. I just want the NDIS to realise that there are several different levels of care that people need, and the reviews that they have for people in Stephen's position is not ideal. They need to realise everyone has a different level of care.
What really annoys me about that, the people that rip off the NDIS.
Exactly what I was thinking.
Those people need all the help they can get.
Yeah.
And you've got people running around ripping the system off. It's heartbreaking.
I get it's a really complicated thing to do. I get this is a really hard program, but that is, we had exactly the same thought because it's the injustice, well, actually at both ends of that spectrum, that is so hard to live with.
If you would like to support the Rieger family in paying back the carers, you can donate to their GoFundMe. Details are on our website.
All right, you're watching The Project. Thanks.
Yes, welcome to Sports Night of Nights. That's right. It's the first and the last ever Taunton's Tee-Off Awards, or as we say in the industries, the Taunties. Thank you very much. Tonight we celebrate the best and brightest sporting clips we've enjoyed over the years, so let's get into it. Rightio, first up, the Tauntie for Best Pitch Invader goes to this beautiful baseball-loving Romeo. Here he is, so you can see he gets down on one knee here. Isn't it? I love love. That's something about me. Oh. Wow, now they say for a wedding you're supposed to bring something blue. I think he's bringing bruises, to be honest. Hit him hard. Now, tee-off is also about celebrating elite skills, and the Tauntie for Best Cricket Fielding goes to this Indian masterclass. Now, as you can see here, now he should stop that. Takes a weird bounce, but you can't knock the effort, which is if there's kids watching, you always got to try, and he stops it. Oh, no. No, off the foot. And it's 4 runs right there, but it feels like it should be so much more, don't you think? It should be the end of the game. It's like catching the golden snitch, you know, game over. Also, that was a Harry Potter joke, so I understand if we go off air immediately, Channel 10. Sporting innuendo, it's kept me in a job, guys, and who could forget when incredibly named NBA player Grady Dick swapped jerseys with Anthony Black. So here they are together, and they've swapped jerseys. And see those two words next to what is now the weirdest part about it is that the other day I saw those words typed in that order on Sarah's laptop. So I don't know whatever that means. Now the Taunty for best innuendo goes to the team at UCL today, talking about French team Brest.
Brest actually play Bayer Leverkusen match day 3, so that'd be an interesting one.
It's a big one. Like sometime name. Oh my God. No, you know what? I gotta go. So obviously it's a big game.
Bit lopsided, I think.
It is fantastic. That's peak broadcasting right there. Also, an update, good news for fans of the team Brest. Apparently, they've outgrown the FA Cup and have been promoted to the FDD Cup. Wow, clapping. Thank you, guys. Now to kids humiliating themselves. It's always been a passion of mine. And the Taunty for best sports kid goes to this very courageous ball boy. Oh, look at that. Embarrassing for him, but the good news is he cannot remember it. That's silver linings. Now, before we go, firstly, I'd like to honour the Aussie footy mums. They're out there every night and they're supporting their kids while also managing to, get on it in the process.
You've got to come down to training and teach me how to kick. Get out of it, Mum.
What? I'll get a photo, get a quick photo, get a quick photo.
You're Samson's mum. Wow. How excited are you?
I know, I'm really
Linda.
The Green Army's coming.
The Orange Army,
Orange Army, better watch out.
Did you meet his girlfriend for the first time tonight?
Her name is Lily.
Oh.
Lily!
Lily.
There you go.
That's a first, surely.
What is that all over you?
Lily!
We can't see Lily.
Earth is shaking because the home is to the Giants.
Wow, isn't that beautiful? She's less GWS, more BWS, if you ask me. Now, guys, it's the moment we've all been waiting for. It's the gold Taunty for best ever tee-off clip. Thank you very much. Here is the envelope. Oh, there's nothing in that. I'll just read it off the auto cue, I guess. It goes to the boozy Scottish ice hockey fan who captured our hearts.
I'm really sorry. I came all the way from Scotland. I thought the Leafs were going to win 2 games they lost. It must have been the fact that the guys were so overwhelmed at the size of my massive they lost concentration. I am sorry.
No, it's amazing. No surprises, the Taunties trophy takes inspiration from her, as you can see. Look at that. Isn't it amazing as it turns around? Hurry up. There you go. You see it now. And that's all from us here at the Taunties. Thank you, linesmen, umpires, 4 kids. It's been a treat. Catch you never. Goodbye. And you're watching The Project. We'll be very back after this.
I love this game. We're getting so many new suggestions for Sam's new
his next
job.
job, yeah.
Annette says...
Based on his look.
Yes.
Foreign correspondent.
Not bad.
Really?
That's
that's my dream to work on foreign correspondent.
We've got Jiank, I think, who says Prime Minister.
I mean, that would sort this country out, am I right?
And Leanne, she says gynaecologist.
Okay.
Well,
apparently he looks like a waiter.
Well, I studied in that field, Sarah, so that's...
You and your side hustles. Let's move on. After 18 months of gruelling cancer treatment, Denise Scott is back. Fiercer, funnier than ever, if that is even possible. In 2023, our dear Scotty shared the heartbreak news. She'd been diagnosed with an aggressive form of breast cancer. Now she's cancer-free. She's making her triumphant return to the hyper podium. In the meantime, would you please welcome Denise Scott?
It's great to be out of the chemo chair,
Yeah.
to have a bit of hair. Oh, look, you're all gone.
No, not at all. How much has your hair grown?
Well, I was bald.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was bald for, 2 years. And I don't know what else to say about that other than I looked terrible. But, of course, most do.
Yeah.
So look, I feel like this has really gone down.
No, not at all.
Sadness stakes. Like,
No,
and in fact, look, I'll just say this, because I feel responsibility that can be funny. So I spent a lot of that 18 months in the public health system, a little bit in the private and stuff. Fantastic. But consequently, you see a whole lot of different oncologists. That could be what
God, I'm the most employable person in this country.
That could be you.
Oh, this is great.
And so this girl I saw, because they look so young. They look about 12. I think, have you even finished primary school?
Yeah.
You know, they're babies. So I saw this oncologist, this girl, and she didn't know who I was. Why would she? And this nurse sort of said, "Oh, Denise is actually a comedian. She's on TV." So then I get taken behind the screen and she's doing a breast examination. This is where I'm bald and sort of... Anyway, I don't know why, but I want you to get that visual as well.
You grabbing your boobs pretty good, though.
Well, yeah, because, you know, it's very intimate when they're examining, their big breasts. And she's examining me and she went, "So, Denise, you're a comedian." And I went, "Yeah," and she went, "Do you know Tommy Little?" And I got the best treatment after that whenever I saw it, because I was her gateway to a life with Tommy Little, of course.
Yeah. Imagine if she knew you knew Sam Taunton.
I know. Well,
she'd be like the guy that looks like Judge Judy. Me up.
You are such a trooper because you were doing the show Mother and Son while you were undergoing chemo. Was that comedy what kind of kept you going and getting you having a laugh? Or
it was the worst. It was like, because chemo, I was on a really, well, most chemo is brutal, but it was a brutal dose every week. And so, yeah, no, it wasn't. It wasn't the best of times. And in fact, the very first, because I started chemo in Sydney and then in Melbourne rather, and then moved to Sydney to start filming Mother and Son and continued there. And the first day of shooting, everyone's nervous and I'm anxious because chemo also really ups the anxiety is out of... anyway, so I rock up. First time I've been in a sitcom. I'm the lead. I'm so scared. And it's a really hot day and this young runner has driven me to set. And I was so nervous that I pull the water out, and I'm like guzzling. And then I think, what have I just drunk?
We're getting cancelled, don't worry.
It wasn't water, it was hand sanitiser that had liquefied in the Sydney heat. I was just like, and they, honestly, and I'm trying to get out, the child lock was on the door and they think, right, that's it, filming stop, get the ambulance for Denise, it's cancer related. And I'm trying to say, anyway, that stuff is like 96% proof. I was pissed out of my mind for the whole of the first day's shoot. If you look at the first scenes of the first series of Mother and Son, I'm completely pissed.
How were the nerves, though?
Well, I'm not going to recommend it as a cancer.
You got a Logie nomination for when you were half blind.
Yes, I did get a Logie nomination.
Have I got your name on the list today, though? Just checking.
Arsehole. No, enough saying that word. It's a great word. But no, I of course I'm not on the list because I haven't done a show. Do you see how it works, Brian?
No.
But I did what I did do, and what I wrote a speech, a 45-minute monologue in case I won.
That's what they want at the Logies as well,
I was going to talk about cancer. I was going to, and I had it printed out. And before the Logie started, I went to the toilet, and I had trousers on. I pulled them down, well, of course, and do we? Well, but I stood up, turned around to flush. And my speech, which had been in my pocket...
Oh, no.
Yeah, was in the toilet, and I thought, what if... I pulled it out, and I dried it in the hand dryer in the toilets at the Logie, just in case. And I've got it here tonight to read to you.
Denise Scott, you can see her if you've been paying attention tonight after MasterChef.